Hello everyone, welcome to the program. This is Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimaloye here in Abuja. Tonight our attention is on when we imagine that Supreme Court gave it a judgment today, but it has been read and interpreted differently. Mr. Debo Olumuagba is insisting that Ude Okoye is the National Secretary. Those who are in court will believe that the court simply said Sam Anyanwu is still the National Secretary of the party. So what exactly? Would they go back to the Supreme Court to go and understand what the court really said? Because the court has also told the PDP something. That you guys need to be able to resolve your matter in-house. Don't bring your internal political party matter before us. Settle it. You have an internal dispute resolution mechanism. Be able to resolve your matter. But it's something that is also concerning in Rivers State. There are elders in the state who have come out and say, look, we cannot find our son, Simfubara. We don't know where his whereabouts. Tonight we'll be speaking with one of the elders, and of course we will be getting you to hear from a major stakeholder in the People's Democratic Party to analyze for us tonight where the PDP is headed as an opposition party. Before we get into all of these matters tonight, let's check out some of your political roundup stories.
The leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Mr. Nnamdi Kanu, has pleaded not guilty to the alleged terrorism charges brought against him by the federal government in a fresh arraignment. The arraignment was conducted at the Federal High Court in Abuja before Justice James Omotosho, who took over the case after Justice Binta Nyako recused herself. Mr. Nnamdi Kanu also formally apologized to the Federal High Court, Justice Binta Nyako, the prosecution team led by Mr. Adegboyega Awomolo and his team over his misconduct at the last proceedings of his trial. Security agencies in Rivers State today staged a show of force on major streets of Port Harcourt to deter any attempts at a breakdown of law and order in the state. Speaking to journalists, the State Commissioner of Police, Mr. Olubenga Adepoju, noted that the idea of staging a joint show of force is to warn anyone who may be thinking of fomenting trouble in the state that they are fully on ground to arrest any potential breakdown of law and order. A coalition of civil society organizations in Nigeria have asked President Bola Tinubu to immediately reverse the removal from office of Governor Siminalayi Fubara of Rivers State. Addressing a news conference in Abuja, the coalition, led by the executive director of Fix Politics Nigeria, Mr. Anthony Ubani, explained that the constitution is clear on how an elected governor can be removed from office, either by impeachment, death, or resignation.
Constitution that empowers a democratic president to remove another duly elected official, be they members of the State House of Assembly, be they members of the National Assembly, be they sitting elected governors. There are no powers.
Meanwhile, the Ijaw Youth Council, representing the Eastern Zone, has filed a lawsuit at the ECOWAS court, accusing the federal government of violating democratic principles and constitutional rights. The group is insisting that President Tinubu's actions undermine democracy and breaches international human rights laws, including the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. The Youth Council is seeking to overturn the state of emergency and reinstate the elected officials back to their position. An aspirant of the Labour Party in the November governorship election in Anambra State, Mr. George Moghalu, has promised to move the state to greater heights by investing in critical infrastructure development if voted for as the next governor of the state. Mr. Moghalu stated this when he visited the National Working Committee of the party in Abuja. According to him, it is important to rejig the current leadership style in the state.
Let me use this opportunity that I'm seated by the side of the national chairman and leaders of our party to let you know that giving me the opportunity to fly our party flag provides us an opportunity to have a state we can call our own.
Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. I will bring you perspectives, soundbite, and the sight and the sounds of what happened today at the Supreme Court. When the Apex Court give his judgment. It is final. And there are a lot of statements as to the finality of the Supreme Court position on any matter. Well, it does not look like the PDP has gotten a final statement on this because there's a lot of confusion. Whether it's an error in reportage or there is a misconstruing of the fact as laid down by the court, we'll find out tonight and get some legal perspectives. But first and foremost, let me touch base in the very troubled Rivers State. Today, we're seeing that security operatives are showing there is in a show of force on the street to show anyone who intend to foment trouble that security is not going to be taken as a joke. And the administrator, since he got into office, Mr. Ibas, and said that he is one, and Stanley one also, those who are planning to foment trouble. About 24 hours after he got into office, he's been having meetings and has begun some high-level consultations with key stakeholders to address the political tension in the state. The administrator held separate meetings with traditional rulers and heads of local government administration, urging them to remain non-partisan in politics. Let me allow you to listen to him on what he said to the traditional rulers. He's seeking their support, and this is going to be very important if he needs to succeed. Take a listen to what Ibakete Ibas said today.
It is imperative that traditional rulers shun all acts of partisanship, whether through their actions, speeches, or body language. The traditional institution must remain a neutral and impartial arbiter, respected by all for its fairness and integrity. I urge you to distance yourselves overtly and covertly from any acts of cultism, violence, community rifts, vandalism, or any form of illegality. As custodians of our communities, you must set up local and traditional institutions that promote peace and unity in your respective domains. Open up communication lines with your communities, gather information, and protect the sources of your intelligence.
All right. There is another information he gave out today about the withheld allocation to Rivers State. And he told the heads of local government administration in Rivers State that those funds have now been released. Take a listen to him.
Let me assure you that the withheld allocations have now been released, and I hereby issue a directive that all the necessary steps be taken to ensure that these salaries are paid without any further delay. However, as this is a new administration, transparency and accountability are our watchwords. To this end, I hereby direct further that all local government areas furnish my office with the wage bills by way of a brief through the office of the head of service. This will enable me to acquaint myself with the situation, as this is my debut dealing with such a matter. All such submissions should be supported with relevant documents to provide clarity and ensure accuracy.
Onerous task. That is what is on Mr. Ibas. But there's something that is worrisome. When elders of Rivers State came together and they said, our son is missing. Where is Governor Sim Fubara? They say they've not seen him or sighted him. In fact, they are asking that he should come on television so that they will know that he's okay and alive. There was a press conference held yesterday where notable elders of Rivers State at the press conference, former governors, elder statesmen in Rivers State met. And let me allow you to listen to what they said.
Let it be known by all Nigerians, there are three parties in this matter. Governor Fubara, the Rivers State House of Assembly, members, and Chief Barrister Nyesom Wike, the Minister on the FCT. It is well circulated on electronic and social media that the explosions experienced in Gokana and Onelga local government areas had earlier been predicted by Chief Barrister Wike on his media chat.
The whereabouts of Sebelaye Fubara, the governor of Rivers State, is unknown to Rivers. He has not spoken to anybody. We have not seen him. We are demanding that Fubara to come on television if he's alive. Because we can observe that Nyesom Wike can go any length. And Mr. President is backing him. They can do anything to this young man. We want Rivers to demand to know his whereabouts and to know what is happening to him.
The man who is making that allegation is with us tonight on the program. He's a Niger Delta activist and elder statesman, one of the elders in Rivers State. Chief Sarah Igbe is live for us from Port Harcourt. Thank you so much, Chief, for joining us tonight. You made a heavy allegation, but there was a press statement, actually, from Governor Sim Fubara about the situation in the state. And it does look like is well and ill and hearty.
I don't hear what you said.
Chief Igbe, can you hear me now?
No.
Chief Igbe, can you hear me? There seems to be some issues with the audio. We'll fix that for you. But let me give you an idea of what happened today at the Supreme Court. We'll come back to Chief Igbe as soon as we are able to resolve the communication line with in the connection. The Supreme Court today gave its verdict, and its position is very clear. That, look, there is a principle of internal party dispute resolution, and the reduction of judicial interference in party internal affairs should be reduced. So the Supreme Court gave its verdict. Let me allow you to see what happened. And of course, what happened later on, you will get to know all of the details of what transpired in the court and how things went down. I don't know if Chief Igbe can hear me now. All right, let me bring in Chief Shagun Shoumi, who is a member of the People's Democratic Party. I saw him earlier in the footage here. But there is something that is concerning, though. Why does it seem that there is a confusion as to the Supreme Court verdict?
Well, thank you very much. There's really no confusion. What I observe is that, first of all, I must say that I went to court today, majorly because I wanted to hear what the judges would say. And for some time now, one had begun to be persuaded that perhaps something untoward happened when people lose cases. So I was not only interested in the verdict, I was interested in how the verdict would be laid. Now, what the Supreme Court said today was very clear. One, the fellow who instituted the case in Enugu High Court, ab initio, has no locus to even do so. Medusum interloper. The second thing they said, that court itself has no jurisdiction because the parties should have been allowed to sort their own issue. The court then went further to say they overturned the High Court judgment. Then the learned judges then went and said, on the Court of Appeal, there was 2 against 1. They overturned the majority and upheld the minority. In fact, they spoke to him about the sound judgment of their brother, Kanem. Then they went to the Supreme Court and said they grant the relief sought by Ayam. Now, most people who are even commenting on it were not in court. The court said they will get a copy of the judgment within a few days, which I'm sure maybe when they get the certified true copy, they will find out what really was said. But what was interesting for me, Sheon, was that, I can't remember his name now. The judge went to field to try to tell us that every time we come to court and they have to give us judgment, that they are very much aware of the fact that society must, believe in the judgment, but that they are restrained by the fact that it's only the facts before them that they will adjudicate on, and that they will do it to the best of their ability and in truth, even understanding that they are standing in some kind of role on behalf of God. He then went a step further to tell us by quoting one judge in Europe or America, one of the very first judges to become Supreme Court, who was black, and then said that was a classmate of the Obi of Onitsha. He then went further to tell us that he quoted Justice Nikki Toby, whom he called his revered mentor, and said that society is not served if we will not accept the verdict of the court as being given in the best interest and in good faith. If you were there and you were listening and you were interested in that, you would almost get to the point where you say, wow, do these guys have to go through this much pressure? Okay, the judgment has been given. We know that it clearly says he has granted those relief. He has thrown up. He's called one person Medusum interloper. He's called another one a busybody. Lo and behold, the National Working Committee of our party has not met. They have not, our legal advisor has not even gotten a certified true copy. And before you know what is happening, some fellow is claiming to be speaking on behalf of the NWC and writing and impugning into a judgment what is not there.
So
yeah,
just for a moment. So what Mr. Debo Ologunagba, who is it? I'm believing that you are referring to Mr. Ologunagba's statement.
Was he the one that wrote that?
Yeah. So let me read out a portion of what he said today in that statement, and I'm quoting him now. It says, quote, today's judgment of the Supreme Court reaffirms the standing position of the party and emphatically settles the emergence of Right Honorable S.K. Ude Okoye as the substantive National Secretary of the PDP, having been duly nominated, endorsed, and ratified through the internal mechanism of the PDP statutory organs and bodies in line with provisions of the PDP Constitution as amended in 2017. The party went further to say, for clarity, the NWC at its 57th 576 meeting held on the 11th of October 2023 directed the Southeast Zonal Executive Committee to nominate a replacement for Senator Samuel Anyanwu upon Senator Anyanwu's nomination as a governorship candidate of the PDP to contest the November 2023 governorship election in Imo State. End of quote. Those are the words of Debo Ologunagba.
The first question you asked, is this in the judgment? Was he in court?
He's a lawyer.
Meaning what? If the matter, it was not in court. If the matter was as important as them deciding who their national secretary is, can you tell me why he would not even, for purpose of just hearing, be there?
Let's break it down.
Now.
Let's break it down.
Yes.
Let's break it down for our viewers to understand. What are the prayers and the relief being sought by? Because Mr. Anyanwu failed at the trial court. He failed at the appellate court. And there's now confusion as to whether or not the Supreme Court outrightly said reinstate Samuel Anyanwu. Did the Supreme Court say that?
There was no need for them to say that. When you read the judgment, you will know that there was no need. If they are confused, when they get the certified true copy, they can go back to the Supreme Court for interpretation. But the fact is that the court said while I was there that you can't build something on nothing. The court went to the base of that case, which is what happened at the Federal High Court in Enugu, and totally threw it away. The court went even a step further by saying that they are refusing and overturning the judgment of the Court of Appeal. No Supreme Court will go to that extent if they were going to become.
Let's break it down.
If they were going to do an academic exercise.
For you were in court and I'm happy.
There.
So let's look at the meat of the matter.
Yes.
Because the fact presented before the court and the prayers presented before the court, the appeals presented to the Supreme Court is what the Supreme Court is going to hear.
Exactly.
Now, first and foremost, the court's position is that the principle of internal politics should be upheld. The party should be able to administer dispute resolution by itself. First and foremost, the party has said you cannot run for a political office while still holding on to the party's national office. That is the position of the NWC.
So with due respect to them, that's not correct. We've had a lot of governors, some people that are even in office now, who were holding party offices until they won the election. The painful thing is that those who seek to now pretend as if that is the position of our law were the ones, the Udeokoye Secondus led NWC at that time. They were the ones that even introduced that strange clause to protect themselves. And now, mine is that, do you know what was most nerve-wracking for me? I feared, and to the Justice of Zungo, I thank you so much, I feared that they may have even been locked up in court, will do all of their processes and all that, and before we know it, we'll have a Zankpara situation, which will be after candidates have emerged, they will tell us that we have built nothing on nothing, because you can't build something on nothing. Now that the court has rested that, what I was hoping, which was my charge to leaders and all that, look, we need to settle down now. It doesn't matter. Their tenure will finish in December anyway. Why don't you just let's take it easy with ourselves, go and take the court judgment. At least we know that if they sign a document now, INEC is not under obligation to say that there's a court order preventing them from having it, and go and build the party. We're hemorrhaging, mostly because of those who claim that they want to leave the party, also being the same one that are insisting that whenever they don't get judgment, the judgment is perfect. And I don't think that it is fair to everybody. When they come back, they are the NWC. They have a right to come and sit in NWC. They have a right to look at the judgment. They have the right to take notice of the judgment. They have a right to the next day in the morning, now that the court has told them they have those powers to do internal issues, to figure out internal ways to do other things. But it is wrong. No national publicity secretary should seize the party handle and begin to appropriate himself more than what his roles and responsibilities are.
Let me pause you just for a moment, please. Apologies. Let me go back to Chief Igbe, who I understand now can hear me and I can hear him. Except if there are some supernatural and extraterrestrial powers that are holding the communications to ransom. Or there is a state of emergency on the internet communication between us. But if you can hear me, and I assume that, I imagine that you can hear me. Chief, thank you so much indeed for joining us tonight. You said yesterday, and those are heavy words that you use in describing the whereabouts of Governor Sim Fubara. But now that we saw a press statement coming from him, it comes now that it may be okay. But what gave you the impetus? What gave you the feeling that it may not be all right?
Thank you very much. The governor is the governor of Rivers State. And in a situation like this, the Rivers people would like to know where he is. They want to know if he's safe or not safe. We want to know that nothing harms him, because we are hearing fake news. Some news said he left immediately they came in. Some news said he was detained in government house. Some news said, oh, he has been moved to this place. We have not seen him. Today, you have seen me. You know I'm alive. If there is a serious circumstances that threatens my life and my environment, and you don't see me for days, then you ask questions. Stories are coming here and there. Oh, they saw him here, they saw him there. As Rivers people, we want to be sure that he's alive. He is our governor, and he will remain our governor until his tenure expires.
But is it fair? You made an allegation, but is it fair, Chief Igbe, for you to have said... I
don't make allegation. I said we have not seen his
No. What I'm saying is that you are making... You said, just for a moment, sir. You made an inference in that statement, in the video that I played to our guests, and you're making an allusion to the Minister of the FCT. I think those are heavy words that you use to... alleging that it may be involved in something that be untoward against Mr. Sim Fubara. Is that fair for you to have said such a thing?
Let me tell you clearly. Few days after he went to Abalamba as a military officer, as a general of the Nigerian Armed Forces, he came back. He thought he would have chaos in Abalamba. He never had. He flew a kite that his house had been bombed. Nobody bombed his house. He came before that, he threatened, oh, God, he can bomb up oil well. This people can bomb oil well. He came back. The next thing we had, oil well has been burned. Where? When you have a character who is not stable, you'll be afraid when somebody you dare so much is incarcerated. Because if it's a straightforward person, if it does not trend in line, you will not be bothered. But here we have a very dangerous person who trends in lights, and who can do anything to get anything he wants. Now they said Port Harcourt is burning. The Chile administrator has confessed Port Harcourt is peaceful. He has been here since 70 days. No demonstration, nothing happens. People lie and lie, so we are not sure. As Rivers people, we hold our governor dearly, and we want to know his whereabouts. We only seen, film tricks. We want to still hear him. If he's alive, he should address Rivers people. He should be allowed to address Rivers people. Let us see him addressing us. Then we'll be convinced that our governor is alive. I said this with all emphasis because the man has done nothing. You are crucifying him from left and right. From the beginning to the end, you are crucifying the man who is innocent. Is it because he's very peaceful? Is it because he doesn't want problem? All the lies are manifesting. Nigerians have seen there is no need to apply Section 305. There's no threat to life. There's no threat to anybody. Yet, you use Section 305 and allow Boronu, where Section 305 should apply, to function well. You allow Yobe, you allow Sokoto, where people are being killed every day, and you do not apply Section 305. Then you came to a peaceful place and apply 305, and we are not seeing our government. If you're in my shoe, what will you say?
Anyway, there are those who will say, since you're not the president, and the president gets security briefings every day, intelligence report, and a lot of the times intelligence report, if not taken seriously, might backfire. And there are those who will say he has a bird's-eye view on what is going on. Can you blame the president who sees more than you and I, who are not privy to some of these reports, for taking an action that is empowered by the Constitution to take?
Mr. President can believe whatever he wants to believe and see whatever he wants to see. When we are warning Jonathan, be wary of this man, he never listened. We all saw the repercussion of what happened to Jonathan. Today, here is a man who is fermenting problems across the country. And allow Mr. President to desecrate the Constitution. Here you have Attorney General who cannot speak the truth about the law. I have checked Section 182 to 188, which talk about how a governor can be removed, either is incapacitated or is being impeached. The governor is not impeached. You say no problem. They bombed their house. They bombed Ogoni. They bombed there. But before this time, you also said these places could be bombed by the people from there. And all are turning out to be lies. So if Mr. President can believe a liar to mislead him, then he will have himself to be blamed when the day of recording will come. Because he will not say, as a president and commander-in-chief, he believes in lies. If UK himself said, most of the security reports are lies on national television. He said most of the security reports are lies. And indeed, if there are security reports, genuine security reports, they are all coming out to be lies.
Chief Igbe, there are those on the other side in Rivers State, Chief Igbe, just for a moment. There are those who say you are one of those who are said to have misled Governor Sim Fubara.
I never misled Mr. Sim Fubara. The Elders Council advised him that that agreement you are signing is dangerous. You are withdrawing your case. The man took you to court. He has not withdrawn his case. You have withdrawn your case. Those who resign on their own, the law says you cannot put on an unwilling worker on the willing master. You accepted them. People who left their party, who decamped, who deflected. President directed you, you accepted them. The 8 points agenda, you have fulfilled all of them. They never did one. Wike came out and said they would never obey Mr. President. Mr. President, security report did not tell him. In the history of Nigeria, for the first time, a minister will go on a private visit, he will go with jet fighters, he will go with gunboats, he will go with armored carriers, he will go with tanks, and over 700 personnel to a village for the private visit. It's not Mr. President, it's not even the governor. And he can go with such magnitude of security agencies and equipment. He came back, oh, his house has been burnt. None of his house was burnt. What are we saying? We are in the democracy of scared out loud.
It appears that you do not accept or you do not see fairness in the intervention of President Bola Tinubu. If you were in his shoes, what would you have done differently?
Jonathan, in his tenure, declared a state of emergency without suspending or sacking a governor or member of House of Assembly. Obasanjo did not sack governors. He had to use the constitutional means to remove those he does not want. But he never on his own used Section 305 as a basis for sacking or suspending a governor elected like him under the Constitution. He was also elected under the Constitution. Will you call this a coup, or what do we call it? These things are not right, and people must speak out. You cannot just default in the Constitution. In some countries, it's an impeachable offense. And somebody is advising the president that what you're doing is
I'm
right.
asking you now, because the president intervened politically before he now exercised a constitutional powers. But it appears that that political intervention, you faulted it ab initio. The latter part of it, where the president said the parties involved in this matter ignored him. And so he had to invoke the constitutional powers that has been presented before him. According to him, he doesn't want an escalation of violence and disruption of peace and order in the state. Now, what is it that you think that the president could have done? Because if you are not happy with his decision, not only that the president is older than the parties involved, he's also the leader of the country and the president of the Federal Republic. But what else, or what outside of his action do you think he should have done?
We are saying that he has no constitutional power to suspend the governor. But a minister who is fermenting the whole problem that he appointed, he has never questioned him and he has never sanctioned him. What stopped him from sanctioning the minister that is causing the whole problem?
Sanction in what way? In what sense?
Of course, you are suspended an elected governor, but you cannot suspend a minister who is the root cause of all the problem.
Would that help the situation? Suspending the minister, would that help the situation?
If two children are fighting, you beat the two of them, everyone will say that you're fair. You cannot flog one child all through and abuse him when he's not the troublemaker. Leaving the troublemaker to continue to make trouble. Insulting everybody. He has insulted every part of the country. He has insulted all the leaders, his grandfathers, calling ethnic groups to come out to cause problem. He's trying to ferment problem. And such a person, you never sanctioned him. But the man that is very peaceful, the man that is under one problem, the man that is obeying you is the one you sanction, is the one you can flog.
Can that be corrected? If you think that that's an error of judgment from the president, can it be corrected? Can the president amend or fix things? Because you are one of the elders, and I saw former Governor Ada George, who spoke earlier, and some other elders in the state, former senator who sat there. Is that the thinking that this could fix, what you're saying now could fix what you have considered as an error of judgment in the president's actions?
It's not only Rivers State. The entire country is speaking against this injustice. The entire country. There's one man who eventually caused problem between Mr. President and everybody. The North is frowning, is not happy. Who is the cost? One man. Abuja, the crisis in Abuja, one man. The East, one man. The South, one man. Coming up with lies upon lies. And Mr. President seems to believe him. Very soon, the scale will be off his eyes and he will see it clearly. But if nobody talks and everybody keep quiet, he will say, why don't you say it?
I don't know, Chief. Sorry, just for a moment. Let me ask you. Look, just for a moment, sir. The Senate amended their prayers before they put the votes up yesterday. Although there are those who have criticized that action, that perhaps that vote should have been conducted in a more transparent manner when everybody's names, according to how he voted, should be published or should be known and straightforward rather than voice vote. But then part of what he said is that there should be a constitution of a committee that will politically resolve this matter, even with the state of emergency in place. But as a member of the Elders Council and a committee of elders in the state, what do you think should be the way forward? The state of emergency is in place. The administrator is in place. I'm not sure there is anything anyone can do about it. But as elders, how do you think this can be politically resolved such that the state can see peace and everybody can go about their businesses?
We are seeing beyond what is on ground. What we are seeing again, and back it, they will extend the tenure of the sole administrator because they have an agenda.
What is that agenda?
The agenda is to grab River State. Let me tell you something.
Grab in what sense?
That is a court judgment. Excuse me, that's a Supreme Court judgment. Don't release funds to River State until the governor presents his budget. The governor wanted to present budget, he was not allowed to present budget. The moment state of emergency was declared without reason, governor suspended without reason, funds were released without the Supreme Court saying otherwise. So anything can happen in this country. Anything can happen in this country. We're not quarreling with the powers of the president to declare state of emergency. Section 305 indeed empowered him. We are quarreling with the removal of the governor, which power he did not have by the Constitution of Nigeria as amended. The 1999 Constitution did not give any room. There are conditions under which a governor can be removed from office. Those conditions are not applied. And there's no section in the Constitution that says Mr. President can suspend a governor who was elected the same way. Nigeria is a federated state. River State is a component of the federation.
All right. Chief Igbe, we need to go now. We need to go. Thank you so much indeed for your time. But there are those who believe that you've suddenly become a sworn enemy of some Wike, and perhaps your stance against him is responsible for the manner in which you speak against him.
No. Wike has been my friend. But because my friend doesn't mean I will not say the truth. I am somebody, look, ask my history. I resigned from the government when I was not satisfied with the way the government was going. I honorably resigned. The governor said it was not going to accept my resignation. And I said, no, I'm going. The matter dragged to the then president, Obasanjo. And before Obasanjo said he was not going to accept my resignation, we came together and we shall go back together. And I told him, no, I cannot stay because I'm not happy. I don't look at material wealth. We will all die and go one day. If you are my father, you're not doing the right thing, I will tell you. Those who know me will tell you. That is myself. If you are doing the right thing, I will clap for you. I was closer to Wike than Sim. But Sim is doing a good job in River State. And every River State man who knows what Sim is doing across the state will support him and will stand for him and will see that River State is developed. And that is what we are fighting for.
Thank you so much.
Chief
Igbe is a Niger Doctor activist, one of the members of the Rivers Elders Council, speaking with us from Port Harcourt. Thanks so much indeed for your time tonight.
Thank you.
Should I allow you to weigh in on Rivers matter, Mr. Showomi?
Well, thank you. You know, because in Ogun State, we had the G15 situation with Egbetokun when Governor Daniel was there, when there was an impeachment. And for a very long time, we had that in Baglo too there. I know how much work we did to even be able to get the last budget of the Daniel administration power. So sometimes one has a bit of things to say. I think whatever it is that has happened in Rivers, I hold the Rivers elders fully responsible for their inability to understand that at the heart of this challenge is that there is no court in the world that will agree that 3 people can constitute an assembly. However you prime it, that was where the problem was likely going to be. And rather than them figure out the way to close gap with brothers, to get them to be friends, they kept pumping each side on. And the result is that obviously they've gotten a state of emergency. I do not agree with the state of emergency, only insofar as I do not believe that we should create a precedence that can allow people to use Section 305 anyhow they want. For want of calling it annoying, let's even say without considering that the president got some kind of security report that made that so. Did that security report also say that the legislature should be cancelled? Okay, let's agree that that was the security report. He wanted to be fair, let him not seem to be, and he balanced it by removing all of them and putting a disciplined officer to go and stabilize the place. Sheung, my fear is that leaders will be copied and the risk of other people stretching. So when the PDP governors say they are going to court on that matter, I salute them, I encourage them, because we need to go back to court so we can define the extent to which you can stretch
the gray lines, and the blurry lines,
the extent to which you can stretch it. The things are clearly written, breakdown of this,
imminent danger,
and all that. But 305 is such a powerful clause that any president who desires mischief can write underneath. The greatest culprit at the National Assembly, because you would have expected that the National Assembly, who is not deaf to the thoughts of the people in the society, would at least have allowed some robustness. We will see people arguing for, arguing against, and even if he is going to pass, it will pass via a clear, proper vote. People will see that the society has not been hijacked. The way the assembly has behaved in this situation makes everybody scared that we are now in full-fledged democratic dictatorship, and that nobody must agree. Because we don't want breakdown of law and order, the PDP governors are right to go to court. I will advise Governor Similai, always remember that the journey from home is not that far. No matter how you are in Timbuktu or you are in Australia, there's always a way to go back home. If a child has a challenge that is becoming difficult for him, you have tried to be brave and it's not working. You must remember that all 40 or so of you, 30-something House of Assembly, 3 senators, 9 reps, 1 governor, all of you were from the same stable. You can't be that angry to the extent that you don't believe that there has to be a space where you guys can agree among yourself and manage yourself. And he's not the first and only person that will be helped into power. Why is there no crisis in Kanu? After all, Kwankwaso helped Abba Gida into power. Why is there no crisis in Akwa Ibom? Why is there no crisis in Bayelsa? I know what's reacting to this indeed to install the. So I'm thinking that somehow the leaders and the elders of Rivers were pumping them, making them more angry with themselves, getting them to do until now the president has done this.
So I mean, look at what Chief Sarah Igbe, quickly before we go on break. He said there is still no fairness in the balance of the discipline that has been meted out.
I hear him, but what he doesn't understand is that the president, with due respect, who then decided based on the Supreme Court judgment and the fact that they were all running away from themselves instead of just quickly agreeing that they're going to take the budget and start implementing, took that decision. No guarantee. His name was not there. The only thing you are asking is, and this PK matter is tiring, because if you tell them, okay, I hear that you don't like him, but that doesn't mean he's wrong. They say he has paid you. If you tell them, if you are strict on him on an issue, they start clapping. But that's not how a leader behaves. A leader must be fair, must be balanced, must be influenced by the fact of the matter. If the president wants to do a cabinet reshuffle, maybe he may be persuaded that he wants to drop Wike, but that's not the issue on the table. So the president would have then said, oh, I'm declaring the state of emergency in Rivers, assuming he said that, and in the same vein, I'm dropping my minister. What do people think the presidential power and responsibility is about? He could have told Wike, take it easy with them, but you don't know what he told him in the back. He could have told Simlaye Fubara, take it easy with your boss. You don't. Look, I started believing that we now need some very strong reorientation with bites. We are running the risk that underneath the process of everybody can talk anyhow. We're instigating our country to a point where we will probably never have peace. And unfortunately, back to the issue, if the judiciary speaks, if the court speaks, no matter how upset you are, you must accept. The reason is that we will run the risk that the only thing that will be happening in our country will be, oh, there's a crisis, because we are insisting that we will be right, even when the court says we are wrong.
Let's take a moment, please. We'll go on a break, and when we return, our conversation continues. The PDP is in turmoil. Rivers State is in turmoil. Segun Sowunmi will be concluding his thoughts after this break on these matters. Join us again. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Chief Segun Sowunmi is a member of the People's Democratic Party.
Probably so.
I thought you were trying to orchestrate some kind of alignment.
You see, when I said, let's do the alternative, you remember what I said? I said, looking at the whole space, there's need for us to go back and interrogate and engage our people. Are they going to agree that they won't even be coming out to vote? Then what's the point? Are they going to insist that they have to be paid for every vote? Then how do we even get good leaders? Are they going to insist that they themselves will not even be brave enough to contest? These were the issues. And in the process, one must be scared. If what is being rumored be true, that all the parties are going to be prevented from doing primaries or whatever the hell, which I doubt can ever happen in PDP, are we now going to be in a one-party state that there will be no opportunity for alternative viewpoint? So we are creating the possibility of dialogue, not of anger, not of malice, not of vengeance, but to say this democracy that we're practicing, it is to survive. We must go back to the people. We must speak to them. We must encourage them. And we must reduce the need to always shame our country. And look at what's going on in the geopolitics of the world. The world doesn't have time for any other person. Everybody is so selfish, so to speak. Are we going to be a big nation that will just wake up every morning? If the court tells us it's left, we'll say we don't agree. If they tell us it's right, we'll say we don't agree. What are we trying to do here? So that's what the alternatives are about. But definitely, anybody who is still banking on me to join people on...
And El-Rufai and an Atiku are now sitting on the same chair, on the same table, and looking like they're working together.
Yes, they are.
He's moved to this SDP. And you now see, you're hearing a Fayemi, hearing an Amechi, hearing a backdoor alignment. What kind of feeling does that give you?
Politicians are funny. They will talk and talk and talk and talk. When it becomes time for them to say, where is the game? You will find them start crawling away from what they say they mean. You have to give it to Nasiru El-Rufai. At least he had the courage of conviction to say, my party I'm no longer doing. Now I am in SDP. Why are the others? They are still having a conversation on where should we go, where would we go, should it be this, what about this, in case it's this. That's one on one side. There's still the conversation on who will even lead. Are we going to say that, okay, they're going to be angry with the president to such a point that the only thing that will be on the table is vengeance, without an interrogation of their capability and the competence to even improve on what they are complaining about? So, Sheung, we will see how it goes. I'm an opposition person because PDP is in opposition. But I'm not going to happily desire that PDP should go down for anybody. The People's Democratic Party of Nigeria, registered and has been existing since 1998, will have to figure out a way to overcome its own issues and then be ready. And let me tell you something, over the weekend, before the weekend, last week, I went back home to have a meeting in the grassroots just to listen. You could see the energy of my people dancing, singing PDP. So I looked at them and said, wow. You people still have this kind of energy for PDP, and we have not won an election in Ogun State since 2011. And yet, every household, every corridor, every corner, there are people doing PDP. Is it that kind of party you wish away? All the issues you are saying about PDP. We did a congress, we did a primaries to install somebody, to pick somebody in Edo. We had the presence of mind to pick Aswe Godalo, such a brilliant guy. We did one in Bayelsa. We had the luck of winning that one. We did one in Edo. We did one in Kogi. We're going to do another one in Osun. So what I have been trying to say, which some of my friends are not happy with, is they want me to just join them and be saying, this is bad, this is bad.
So you are not going to leave the PDP?
It will be very hard. And if I am to leave, I'm not going to follow a bunch of meanderers who will say they are here today, tomorrow they are. I've been a stable person.
What does it take to be able to give a good fight as opposition against the ruling party in the next general election?
I think that the two things we need to consider is, we need to, first of all, decide that what the country is saying, some section of the country, which is that they want the South to complete their turn. Are we interested? If we're interested, we should be looking in the direction of men like, if we want the ones that are already indicating presidency, maybe Peter. If the ones that has not indicated president, maybe somebody like Tunde Bakare. If they say, okay, look, we are not under obligation to zone according to you people. Every political party should do its zoning as it wish. Then we'll have to look at the North, because that's one location where we can easily get cheap numbers and then we can make it up somewhere else. But we can't be planning an election in chaos. And Nigerians are not interested in people who just want to win for winning's sake without smart ideas of how they can make things better. People are, look, the last survey result I saw, 75% of the electorate today say they are not even interested in voting. They're losing hope. Now, okay, I ask you, if they lose hope in democracy, what other fancy ideas of selection of leaders have we invented? So you can see the struggle to say that, take it easy with yourself. Oh, somebody is secretary. What is secretary? Worst case scenario, we'll sit down there for until they finish their tenure. I've been screaming on the party, let's reform. We've wasted damn 2 years.
Can that happen? You're just in a dreamland.
Well, the thing is that, look, I'm not young. At some point in time, I'm going to ask myself that, have I given my all to this idea of saying, let us build it to last? And when I get to that, they know me. I will have the courage to tell them I'm done, and this is where I'm going. But for now, I'm just obsessed with the idea that the parties in America are 100 and something years old. You think that if they had been disturbing their party every 25 years, they will have a long party? Even the ones that is in China, the Chinese Communist Party, is almost 104 years old. The ANC is well over 120 something years old. Why should you people in Nigeria not agree that you can build to last?
So those who
APC
say
has only been in power for 10 years. PDP, damn it, we were there for 16.
So those who are of the opinion that if the opposition does not organize properly and not adequately use science and data to be able to organize properly,
we will lose.
Bola Tinubu and the APC
will lose. So
no, I'm asking. So the question is about opposition voice and opposition activism in our politics. The fact that you've got to put the ruling party on its toes to be able to perform. The ruling party should not be too comfortable to think that there won't be pushed to do it. But the question is,
let me tell you how that
is the opposition organizing or realizing that tendency?
Over a period, we have created a culture of an assembly, the Senate and the Rep, where they're only eager to agree with themselves for patronage. And I think that what we can do from what we're seeing now is begin to send better quality men on behalf of parties, so that even when they want to oppose, they will oppose intelligently. They may be shut down. That's one. Because if you have an assembly where people are supposed to consider issues and everybody is just happily saying, the years have it, for something as offensive as a state of emergency, you know that it's all but gone. For the PDP, because it's a legacy party, it has been around since 98. All it has to do is go back to the drawing board, forgive itself, heal its own wounds, and stop fighting as if fighting 100% of zero is smart. I don't believe that, with everything considered, anyone can prevent PDP from having a primary. I don't believe so. I am not happy that we didn't get anybody challenging much in Anambra. But you know why we didn't get? We didn't get there because when we finished 2023, I ran to these leaders, these same leaders, that look, let's put all our energy in Imo so that the Igbos can see that we're back. What were they doing? Conveniently, they pretended that it was not an important election. Why should anybody that is in the Southeast today, who knows that there's ABGA in Anambra, there's APC ruling party, possibly there's even whatever it is they call Labour. Why should anybody be?
So we need to go now.
Yeah, we can go.
Is there one individual that can help fix your party? Because it does look
You know, if I told you who can fix it, they will be angry.
Who is the person?
No, let me just say that. In Yoruba people used to say that there's a child you have, and the elders will say, Omo Kombi Igba Omo. Igba in Yoruba land is 200. They will say, you have one child, is the equivalent of 200 children.
And who is this child? Who is the person?
His name is Wike. I wish he was not in APC. I guarantee, I don't know him that well.
Bukola Saraki cannot do it?
No, the problem with Bukola is I think Bukola has just seen that, one, how could they have even lost 2023? Two, why should he even be dissipating energy on people that are not serious? And probably he's thinking that, well, if they are not interested...
So Wike is a solution to PDP's
No.
problem.
What I meant is that because he's still a member of the party, I guarantee you he's not here. If he had been in the party today, one side would have won, one side would have been pleaded with, one side would have been... Another person that can try, if he's interested in trying, is Bala Mohammed. Why? Because when I go around across the broad spectrum of intelligent people in the country, they like him. We have enough stars. We borrow APC.
Thank you so much indeed. Always a pleasure having you.
It's a pleasure, but I'm not happy. I want my party back.
Get your party, and you can go to on ChatGPT or Grok on Twitter and say, how best can you salvage PDP?
I'll try.
Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I'm sure Hakim Alaye. God bless Nigeria.